there are people that have competency, that are in positions of power, that do keep things running along, I assume. Maybe they don't reach the heights at all times, but I think that they do exist. I hope they still exist. Whether or not they could deal with a comet, I don't know. But so I'm not sure that it's as
I'm a little less
obvious.
optimistic than you on that. I mean, I
But
think
you
there
can't
are.
see it. That's all I'm trying to say is that you,
Well, then that's
you
a
only
problem,
see the
isn't it?
negative.
Because that means there's perhaps an
Yes.
outsized effect of the negative. We're not seeing the results of these positive individuals in these systems. Are they making an effect? You know, that's my concern.
It's you can't see it because every time you drive a car across a bridge, you accept the fact that the bridge exists and is supposed to be standing there and runs and won't fall down. So it's only when the bridge collapses, which is rare, that then everything seems to be in complete chaos because there's this bias towards everything running right. And what I know is the fact, because I've been to some other countries where things don't run right by default, that we still live in a country that has some core competence in some of the things it does. I'm not saying there aren't problems. Trust me, I'm all Ron Paul 2012 too a lot of the times. But I'm just trying to say that, we take a lot for granted, which is a concept that we'll get into towards the next section. But we do, and I think that influences in a way, I think it works out. It's a good trick because it keeps us even more honest, and I'm for the population being mildly angry and mildly concerned and mildly suspicious. I like that. I think that's good. Mildly. Keep in mind the word mildly. Yeah. Because that keeps people accountable, So I'm for that. And I'm for this general idea. But I'm also saying let's not overlook the fact that for the time being, given the circumstances we're in currently in the year January or the month of January 2022, things have not devolved into complete and utter chaos.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. And I agree with you. And I think that there is the problem when you get too negative and you don't realize that, yes, the bridges work and all of this, because then you don't see what it is worth saving your system for. If you have this perception that your system has done nothing right, then you're very easily convinced that you should just do away with the entire system. And so that warped perspective can make you unable to see what it is that you're risking when you negate or rather, neglect the system. Now, though, one more thing before we move on, a lot of those fucking bridges were built a long time ago. And a lot of the things that we're pointing to as like, look, things work, they weren't built recently. And I think things have changed a lot that... Now, I'm not saying there aren't bridges falling down all of a sudden, but some of them are. That happened in Miami. A new bridge collapsed shortly after it was built, but most of them don't. Though I just wonder, how much can we rely on the legacy system that constructed things properly to say that the current system is still functioning? I think, the pandemic put that system to a test, and I think it was miserably failed. It could have been worse. Definitely could have been worse. It could be Australia. That's worse. But it could be Canada. That's even worse. But I was
be
surprised.
China. That's much worse.
That's the worst. But I was surprised that it was as bad as it was, because there's some basic things, right, that we've lost, which is like the proper messaging during an emergency, which is not to immediately divide and shame parts of the population based on your political agenda, but to unify your population. That's generally what the, boring basic messaging during any emergency is, which is we're all Americans, we're all together. Like, that's the fucking step one for any emergency. So the fact that was dropped and lost so easily is a little bit concerning for the integrity of that system.